Hi everyone, thanks for watching our latest instalment in Two for Your Toolkit. This is number 3 and today we have Mary Jane and Gav from the Connected Falkirk team with us. They're going to share some ideas from their teaching toolkit that you can hopefully use in your classes. The aim of today is to ensure we make today's session easy to follow, show how it can be useful to you and how it can be compatible in your classroom. So let's get started and I'm going to pass you over to Mary Jane.
Thanks, Andy. The app that we're going to start with today is Ebooks, which is a library app that is available for free through using your Glow login. And you can download the app from both staff and pupil app portals on your Connected Falkirk devices. Ebooks is a great resource for pupils to use in class, whether it's during ERIC time, reading for enjoyment, or even to support programmes like Accelerated Reader. Because of the options it has for ebooks and e-audiobooks, it can be a great way to entice those reluctant readers or even those who need a little bit of extra support. So I'm going to start by opening the app and it takes me to this initial page. I first of all have to select my library. So I'm going to tap on library and I'm just going to start typing Falkirk. You'll then see that the Falkirk Learning Resource Service comes up, so I'm going to give that a tap. It's now going to ask me to log in. It's asking for an ID, and the ID that I'm going to use here is the start of my Glow username, so my GW with @Glow at the end. I'll just type that in. And the password it's asking for is just the password I used to log in to Glow anyway. So I'll pop that in just now and I'm then just going to tap sign in. You may have a terms and conditions pop up. You're just going to tap agree in the bottom right hand corner. Now that I am logged in, it's going to take me to my main screen. Now along the top you'll see we've got 2 tabs here. There's one for my loans and one for my reading lists. We're going to keep coming back to this page because this is where we see any loans that we've got currently out, any reservations we've made, and also a little history of loans that we've had in the past. Now we're going to look at searching for books and also borrowing books. And for that, we need to look along the bottom bar. And you'll see the options that we have, that My Loans tab. We've got e-audiobooks, ebooks, and search. Now, if I already know a title, I can go straight to search, so I'm going to do that just now. And you can type either the title of a book or some keywords. So I'm just going to go for Harry Potter. And this way I can then browse any book titles associated with Harry Potter. You can just browse the books available on the app as well. So first of all, I'm going to go to e-audiobooks along the bottom. And I'm just going to have a little scroll. Now you can see that there are many different categories available and it gives you a preview row. If I want to look into a specific category, so for example, Winter Wonders, I'm going to look at the far right hand side and you can see that there are 25 titles within that category. I'm going to tap on 25 and that just gives me the full list of titles that are available to me. Now, to borrow a book, you need to select one and tap on the image. So, for example, I'm going to tap on The Girl, the Bear and the Magic Shoes by Julia Donaldson. And you'll then see the nice big green borrow icon at the bottom. So I'm going to tap on that. It will then ask me to confirm my loan, which I will just tap on as well. It might ask if I want notifications. That's a personal choice. At the moment, I'm just going to tap no. It's going to ask if you want to listen to that e-audiobook now or if you want to keep browsing. For the moment, I'm just going to keep browsing. And I'm going to tap back in the top left-hand corner just to take me back to that list. Now, you may have noticed when I was scrolling that some audiobooks have an on loan message in red. These books are the ones that are currently out on loan, so you can't borrow them until they're available. But what you can do is reserve them. So for example, if I want to reserve the Very Merry Murder Club, I'm going to tap on that image. And you'll see instead of the green borrow, we now have the orange reserve. So I'm going to tap on that. I'm then going to tap on confirm reserve. And it tells me I'm successful. So I'm just going to tap dismiss. Tap back to go back to my list. Now, the ebooks work in the exact same way. So this time I'm just going to go to ebooks along the bottom. At the top, I've got some more categories that I can select from. So for the moment, I'm just going to tap on children, and I'm just going to scroll down again. You can see we've got the categories. Some of them have that on loan message again. You do have the option to reserve these as well if you want. So I want to loan a book out, so I'm going to choose this, the Book of Hopes from the Early Learners category. But before I borrow it this time, I want to preview it to make sure that it is something that I want to read. So I'm going to tap on preview at the bottom left, and that lets me preview the book. So you can see I can just flick through, have a little look at it. I've decided that I quite like this book. I do want to loan it out, so I'm just going to tap in the top left-hand corner to close it. I'm then going to tap borrow in the bottom right and confirm that loan. Again, it's just giving me a little notification. I'm just going to tap no because I don't want the confirmations coming through all the time. I don't want to read it now. I'm going to keep browsing. And I'm going to tap back in the top left-hand corner to the ebooks list. Now, I've got a couple of loans out, but there is another book that I would quite like, and it's Love from Joy, for example. I've not got time to loan this out and read it at the moment. And what's really nice about this app is in the top right-hand corner, I can tap on the three dots and I can add it to my reading list. So I'm going to do that. Perfect. That means that I can go back at a later time and reserve this book or loan it out as well. Now, to find my reading list and my loans, I'm just going to tap the top left to ebooks, and I'm going to go back to that My Loans tab that we talked about. And you'll then see I've got my Loans section and my reading list section in the top right there. And it does say I don't have any audiobooks, but I've then got a couple of ebooks that I have on my reading list for later on. I'm going to go back to My Loans though. And a lot of people who loan out a book or have one reserved, you're not going to listen or read in a oneer. So you might need to go back and pick up where you left off. So to do that, you're going to tap on the image of one of these books. So I'm going to tap on the ebook image. It's going to ask me if I want to download it. I'm just going to tap yes. And to read through, I'm just going to scroll from right to left as soon as it has finished downloading. It takes a little second, there we go, and I can just flick through. To come out of that, I'm going to tap on the top left-hand corner, go back to My Loans, and you'll see it bookmarks my page. So the next time I go into that, it's going to save it as the last page that I read, which is really helpful. It works the same for the audiobooks. I'm just going to tap on the audiobook image. It's going to ask me to download it. And I can control this audiobook by tapping play, tapping pause, and I can also skip backwards and forwards as well. I'm just going to go back to the top left to come back to my loans page there. Now, just before I finish up, I want to direct you to the account icon in the top right-hand corner. Tapping on this takes you to your settings and account details. But there is one part here that is really useful, and that is the borrow box tips that you'll see down the left-hand side. And by tapping on that, it just gives me a few tips to help me and give me some guidance on how to use parts of the app in case you maybe forget or you need some help. But it is also quite handy for pupils to know where that is too. So that's a really, really quick tour around BorrowBox. Hopefully you'll see a place for it in your setting to support and encourage a culture of reading for your young people, or even just a little bit of reading for yourself every now and then. I'm going to pass you back over to Andy. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Mary Jane. I think that was a great insight into BorrowBox. I'm sure staff will see that the use of kind of text can be supportive in class, but also that ability to differentiate for pupils as well with the access to the audiobooks as well. So for our second Two for Your Toolkit idea for today, I'm going to pass you over to Gavin.
All right, thanks very much. Well, I'm going to talk to you about some of the tools on your device that allow you to interact with handwriting. I'm going to start by going into the Notes app. Now, I'm going to start by just drawing directly onto the screen by using the draw tool. So if you tap on the pen in the circle at the top of the screen, that'll open up your draw toolbar at the bottom. So I'm going to select my pen and my colour. I'm going to start off nice and simple by just writing individual single words. So imagine this is perhaps an animal theme, and I'm going to focus on some key vocabulary or ask the pupils to write down their favourite animals. And as you can see, it doesn't have to be particularly neat. So I've got my 3 words written there. I'm now going to select that by using the selection tool, which is the pen down next to the ruler. Tap on that, and I can now draw a circle round this writing to select it. From here, I will tap in the middle of the circle, and there's a few tools that I now have access to. The first one I want to show is Translate at the right-hand side there. So if I tap on Translate, this one is obviously incredibly useful for language teachers. So I'm going to choose my language. I've started off with English UK, and you can see there that it's translated that to French successfully, and I can even tap on the play to have that read aloud. And that would be very useful for pupils to be able to hear that read aloud on their own device. And if I tap on change language, let's say we were doing some Spanish, you can see it's able to read that writing on the screen, identify the Spanish vocabulary, and allow pupils to read that aloud from their device. So an incredibly powerful tool for anyone who's teaching languages. Now I'm going to get rid of this by tapping on the circle again and tapping delete. And this time I'm going to write a full sentence, again, just quite crudely using my finger. So you can see again, it won't be too neat, but we'll test the ability of the app to read handwriting by doing it this way here. I can write on the screen with my finger. And if it can read this, then I'm sure you'll agree it can pretty much read anything. Now this time I'm going to put the draw tools away by tapping on that circle at the top. There's another way to select your handwriting. If I double tap on the eye, I get that kind of selection graphic, and I can now drag that yellow circle through to the end in the usual way that you would, and you can see that it's identified that as handwriting. I can now tap anywhere in that area, and the second tool I want to demonstrate is copy as text. I'm going to tap on that at the top. If I now tap at the bottom of my note, this is simply going to allow me to change my quite crude handwriting into typed text. So tap again where the yellow cursor is, and tap on paste, the third from the left there. And you can see that it's managed to read my scroll successfully. It's even picked up the line break. So I can now interact with that text in the usual way. I can take out the line breaks. I could go in and take out that capital letter, for example. And I just think it's useful to know that you can be writing on the screen with a finger, and you can still have that saved as text, and then all the benefits that the text brings us. Now, I realise that you will still be wanting pupils to write in jotters or on pieces of paper. Of course, that's important. And with the features in the camera app, you can now photograph handwriting that's been written on paper and still interact with it digitally from there. So if I go to my camera at the top of the screen, tap on there, you can use scanned documents or take photo. I tend to use scanned documents if it's a full page, because just now I'm only using a little extract. I'm going to just try and do it through the camera. So take photo or video. And I have this little bit of handwritten text that I prepared earlier. So all I need to do is line that up and tap the white circle at the right-hand side to take the photo. Now, if I select use photo at the bottom right there, you can see it's going to drop that photo straight into my note. I can now tap on the photo, and if I double tap on the first word, you can see that it's selected that, and it's now interpreting this as handwriting. And as before, I can scan that to the bottom. And this could be a little fun game that you could play with pupils where you can say, is your handwriting neat enough to be read by the device? Now, I tried to put in some scribbles on line 5 there to test that. Now, it thinks it has read it. What we can do is tap on speak at the top and have this writing read back to us. So, again, pupils, I think, would maybe find this useful. It's almost like a proofreading tool. If you can have your own writing read out aloud to you, it helps you identify little mistakes, like perhaps where there was a missed word, and it helps you to make sure that the meaning that you meant to communicate in that writing is actually coming across clearly. So the speak tool is really useful from here. Now, I'm going to just select that again and copy it as before. This time I'm going to tap done, and I'm just going to copy this back into the note. Again, just to show you that it is able to read most of my handwriting, but this would be a good check for me that there are some words that haven't quite accurately copied across, and that tells me that I need to go back and maybe work on my handwriting skills there and try and make some improvements in future. And I like this, being able to translate handwriting to text, because it saves time pupils having to key in their handwritten work into the computer, and they can then spend that time focusing on redrafting and perhaps improving the writing as opposed to just simply keying it into the computer. Now, once you've got the text copied to your clipboard, as I do, it's really versatile on the app. You can paste this into any text-based app that you want. So to show this, I'm going to just go into OneNote and just show that you can also paste in there. So plus at the bottom left to get a new page. Let's call this handwriting, and I can tap in that box and paste, and it's going to copy the text from Notes over into OneNote. And the reason I like OneNote is because if I now go to View at the top, I have my Immersive Reader option. So if I tap on Immersive Reader, that'll take me in and give me access to all of the usual tools. I can press play to have that read aloud. I can tap on the two capital A's and change the size of the text. You can even change how that visually looks on the screen, which a lot of pupils find really useful. Immersive Reader does also have translation tools, but the thing that I like best about this is the one in the middle there, which gives you the parts of speech. So a task I would give pupils would be to ask them to write something and then go through their own writing and maybe highlight the adjectives or the nouns. They could then paste that into Immersive Reader and give it a little check. So let's check the adjectives. So we had untidy, and it's got untidy twice. It should have had neat as well at the bottom, was an adjective that was in there. I could check the nouns, and it's just a little self-check for pupils as well. So whether you're writing directly onto the screen or whether you are photographing text that is written on paper, you can have your writing read aloud, you can translate it into different languages, and you can analyse the writing for parts of speech. So there's just a few ideas for handwriting from me. I'm sure you'll have lots and lots of ideas of your own, and please do share those with us, because we're always keen on hearing what you guys are doing out there in classrooms. But that is all from me for now on handwriting. Thank you.
Thanks, Gav. Those were great examples of the inbuilt features that pupils and staff can use with handwriting and typed text in core apps and then transfer to additional apps. So finish today by saying thanks to Mary Jane and Gav for your inputs. I hope you will be able to take away a few tips for your toolkit from the session, and would agree that the session has been easy to follow. It's shown how this can be useful to you and how it can be compatible in your classroom. And as always, please don't forget there's lots of ways to access the Connected Falkirk support materials through YouTube, Teams, Twitter and our Apple Regional Training Centre. Thanks very much for watching.